of this film, Alexandre Rockwell.
Hey, Adolfo Rolo, how you doing? Nice job, Adolfo.
Yeah, I didn't know Adolfo Rolo made this movie.
Wow.
For those of you who don't know, I played Adolfo Rolo in Alex's film In the Soup, so I was surprised.
Yeah, this is your work.
Up there, yeah.
I try,
It's
totally.
nice to know that Adolfo did okay.
He did okay after all, right? I just really quick, I gotta say, this is, there are these, life is a bitch, right? And COVID comes, all this crap happens to us. And I gotta say, this is pure joy for me. Actually, it's very emotional for me. I was born in movie theaters. Movies saved my life. They really did. And to be here with someone I love like you, and to be in front of you guys, very emotional for me. So I'm gonna take a picture of you guys. Okay? I have done this over the years, and this is a very emotional moment to come back into movie theaters. And thank you, man. This is really great. The IFC is like a home to me, and New York is my home. And I'm gonna take a picture. All right? I promise I won't crack up, Lana. My daughter's here. She's probably embarrassed right now. That's a dad's job, right, Lana? All right. So on the count of 3. Cheese, and I mean it, say it with heart. I mean, come on. I laid myself out there, okay? All right, on the count of 3. Hold on. All right, we ready? And 1, 2, 3.
Cheese!
There you go, you got it the first time. Thank you. Sorry about that, Steve.
No, it's good. I hesitate to ask you this, but you don't have to answer. What was your childhood like?
Well, I did, it was rough sometimes. It was rough sometimes. But actually, I used to break into the movie theater. I used to sneak into the back of a movie theater. And that was like my solace. I wasn't good at school. I wasn't that great at school. And I would go into movies, and I would fall asleep during movies and wake up during movies. So you feel when you kind of watch this movie, it was fun to watch it with you guys. I was gonna leave and go for a walk and come back, but I watched it with you guys. But what's so weird about, for me, this movie is it's almost like a dream I had. It's like, it goes into other movies. And
dreamlike, and that's what's wonderful about it. And it is the kind of film, remember, you probably did the same thing as me as kids. We turned the TV on and watched a movie in the afternoon. It didn't matter if it was on in the middle. You just would watch it.
Just pick it up where it
was. And you kind of figured out, and then you'd have to wait maybe another year or 2 to see the beginning. It's like, oh, that movie's on again.
Yeah, right. No,
or you'd go to the movies and you didn't care what time it started. You just would go and then
you sit even when it was hard out, you go to the movie theater.
Wait till the movie, like if you came in halfway, you just wait and then see it again.
Yeah, and it's weird because my old man, and I know your old man had some. I don't want to get. Hey, Steve, will you lay down on that? Actually, hold on, guys. We're gonna lay down and just talk about our old man. My dad was a drunk. My dad actually drank, and I loved him a lot. I love my dad a lot, and it's hard growing up as a kid who had an alcoholic parent, and so there's a lot of that in there, which is the love of a man who's in pain, and the kids, and he kind of gives them the best of himself. Like that's the thing, it's a complicated relationship, but at the same time, he gave me the best of him. I know me and my sisters were the best of him. So there's kind of that comes across in the movie. It's kind of like non-judgmental in that way.
And how do you go about writing? I mean, how do you write a film like this? And did you write it? Did you collaborate with your kids on it and with Karen, or is it something that you kind of did and showed them, and then you all worked?
Well, Steve, it's almost a little like In the Soup in the way that I've learned how to make films with my means. Like when I teach film, and some students are in here, but. That have studied with me, but one of the things you do is you don't. I've always felt low budget films don't restrict you. You actually don't get restricted by them. You actually get liberated by them. A lot of people say, "Well, write a script in a little room and I just have 3 characters and have them all talking about," And I'm like, no. If you got no money, then go out in the streets, blow things up, light things on fire. Remember when we lit the building on fire on Avenue B and it started getting out of control? We do what? You were unaware of that, Steve. A lot of times he was unaware of what we were doing half the time. Yeah. And he started going, maybe we should put the fire out. But in other words, basically, you don't kind of say no. And by the way, this is a good moment to introduce my daughter, Lana.
Yes,
she really is. she's the soul of the movie. And I have to say that, like, just to answer that question about collaborating, so, you work with what you have, in a way. And I went through a tough period where I couldn't get a movie financed, and I still couldn't get a movie financed. It was only through you and some of the Kickstarter supporters that this actually happened. And, actually I had a leak in my basement, and instead of fixing the leak, I used it to buy a film and make a movie. But so, I had a hard time, so I just kind of looked around and I said, what do I have? I had an old Bolex camera, I had these kids who were pure poetry, and it was a big risk because I didn't know if Lana could do this. It was like, it's a big responsibility as a father to make her do this thing, and she not only freaked me out by doing it, she's just the soul of the
They're
movie.
amazing. And where's Nico?
Nico didn't. Nico's like Marlon Brando, man. He's too busy. He's in Tahiti. He's not. Nico's great. Like he just does his thing. And Will's somewhere in Arkansas.
But let's introduce the cast that's
yeah.
here. So,
ML, where are you, ML? ML, no. ML is one of the sweetest individuals I've ever known. He's one of the truly sweet guys. So I know it's tough. Very brave guy to have done this because he's the most unattractive human being in this movie. You do pretty rough stuff, ML, but he did it with absolute faith and courage. And that's a hard. Would you play it? I asked Steve to play it. I asked Steve to play it. He said, I gotta do. Yes, I did. I said, I gotta do what? No, I didn't ask him to do it. But
is Karen here?
No, Karen's not here either. She doesn't want to see you anymore. You turned down the movie. But Steve, better remember these things. No, but no, hold on. And Jabari, where's Jabari?
Yeah.
Jabari. Jabari is a life force. Jabari is a guy who came from we met in a skate park in New York. And I just grabbed him, and his mom had the faith to let me take him into the country and up in Massachusetts, and he lived with us for three months. We got to light fires, and we got to do all kinds of crazy stuff, and he is a life force. You are lucky when you get near a guy.
You're all incredible. This cast is just amazing, and I could watch the outlaws and the gangsters.
And Renegades.
And Renegades, yeah. It's so beautiful. And you got Steve Randazzo in there.
Steve. He's great.
And it's just a wonderful cast. So you wrote the movie.
Yeah.
You have Lana's character as Billy, and she's into Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
And it's Sweet Thing, and she sings it.
Yeah.
I know you didn't get any of these rights before you went into it.
It's a little weird.
And we were talking about this before. You said you had no plan B.
Yeah.
But what would you have done if you didn't get the rights?
I would have called the film Bummer. And Lana would have picked up an instrument and gone, and then it would cut. But no, it's so weird. It's an act of faith. That's the weirdest thing about film and life and art is you close your eyes and you jump. And I couldn't get that song out of my head when music's the weirdest thing, because you know how lyrics are. Actually, it reminds me of a funny story. I know this guy so well. We've known each other for so long. We used to say, Jimi Hendrix. I gotta say this. The Jimi Hendrix song. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Right now. Steve goes, I always used to think it was, excuse me while I kiss this guy.
Come on, a lot of people thought that. I'm not the only one who thought that.
He said, man, it made it so cool. Anyway, long story short. Lyrics in film, Sweet Thing. And when Van Morrison says, it's so weird, when he says, we shall never grow so old again. When he says that, there's something about that line when he sings it and when Lana sings it, when they're running the field. It was like it was the soul of the movie, and I could not give up. So it took me so many no's. You go through agents, you go through record companies.
You couldn't have picked a harder guy to reach and get a song from.
Yeah, the cranky guy in Dublin. Yeah, the guy who doesn't want to see anybody anymore.
Don't film this. You might take it away from you. You might take it away. You bloody bastard! You lied to me.
No, it's like no.
You little motherfucker. You'll never get anything from me again.
Van Morrison's about this tall, too.
A little motherfucker. I'm going all the way to Get down here! I'll punch you in the kneecap! Alright. Well, hey,
don't record that, man. So anyway, I love him. He's got soul. No one ever should ever say anything bad about Van Morrison.
No, he's amazing.
He's amazing. But long story short, Lana's so embarrassed by me. But Lana sang the song, and I sent her clip of her singing his song too. I found him through this weird circuitous route of some old guy in Switzerland. Anyway, I got it, the song to Van Morrison, and it was after months.
Of course,
and he heard her sing it, and he was yes, and he gave it to us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And Steve, by the way, got Brian Eno's song. Steve indirectly got Brian Eno's song.
I just put
me in touch with
the
somebody
right
who
direction.
actually, but after months and months and months of getting no, so.
But that's what the thing about you, and if there's any filmmakers here, you never give up. You just won't take no for an answer, and you're willing to do it.
That's what Karen says. Honey, tonight, you think I'll get lucky?
Lana, how do you do it? I don't know how you do it. How do you do it?
I'm messing with you, Steve. I'm just happy to see Steve.
But you don't give up. And is your cinematographer here?
Yeah, no, he's actually in Denmark.
It's such a beautifully shot film.
Yes.
And so how did you work with him?
Well, he's a student, and actually, one of the great things about teaching film, and some students from NYU are here, one of the great things is I share what I love with them about the ultimately, film is a mystery to me. To this day, it's like just as magical as it was when I was 12 years old. And with my students, we do experiments, and we do exercises every week. And sometimes I learn just as much from their experiments as I do from Stanley Kubrick. We do things, and so I hired all students to make this film. All of them, every single part are my students. And Lassa, who shot it, was a direct collaboration with me. And so when I did Jabari's monologue about his and by the way, Jabari, thank you. That's Soul. That's Jabari wrote that monologue, the one where he's talking about the scar. And I know that you don't film an actor. Generally, you don't film an actor right in their face when they have to do something like that.
That was amazing to have it, from behind, and to have Lana's reaction to it.
Yeah.
It was just, it was so powerful.
Yeah, so it's like a laboratory. Teaching for me is a little bit of a laboratory. So that it's very collaborative in that way.
And so did you show him other films, or did you show your kids film?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, Lana and Nico grew up watching movies with me
Yeah.
when they were little.
Yeah.
So they watched Little Fugitive.
I was going to say The Little Future.
Yeah. They watched so they were always. And Lana's so good at both Nico and Lana, but Lana's very aware of it. Nico's kind of instinctually aware of it, but Lana is so aware of bad acting. Like Lana watches movies with me, and all I have to do is look at her, and she goes, "Steve Buscemi." I mean, he was good in that one thing, she can smell bad acting. That's why she's not up on the stage with us. No, I'm messing with you.
So happy to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Sorry, tempting. It's too tempting. So they both just grew up in front of watching movies, and they're like more sophisticated than I am. And actually, I got to say also, Will Patton.
Will Patton is incredible in this movie. I wish he was here. He's just,
I know.
Yeah, and we've known him for so
He was
many
in
years.
The Soup.
In The Soup.
Yeah.
He made me laugh so hard. Like I ruined takes
we were in the tunnel. Remember that
scene?
scene?
Yeah, in the tunnel, and remember that scene where I'm leaving and
Oh, yeah.
Seymour
Just staring
leaves,
at
he
you.
says goodbye, and he kisses me, and then he closes the door, and Will Patton's just staring at me, and
Yeah,
I
oh God.
just started
Every time
laughing.
I'd say cut, I think every time I say cut in The Soup, we would all break out just like laughing so hard we'd almost die. Will created a sacred thing. What's amazing, the only thing will ever be remembered in films, it's like, to me, they're like messages in a bottle. They're like, we make these things, we throw them into the world, and whatever happens to them, they're like messages in a bottle, and the only thing that exists was within the rectangle. And so, you either believe it or you don't believe it, and Will created this atmosphere with the actors. I was so lucky because they were all kids, and I was the dad always going like, no, don't do that. And they got tired of listening to me. And then Will came in one day and he's just like, no, what goes on in here is it, and that's all that matters. All the equipment, all the microphones, all the lenses, all, you know, like a lot of, I mean, students learn the hard way, but you know, actors, you know, like Steve, I'm sure you've done movies where like, you know, this AC is going like, so anyway, we got like 24 or 5 lens, what's an ND filter? And we go, okay, we ready? And then, you know, action, you know, like, and the thing is that Will just went, no talking. No, like when they cut the hair in the bathroom, that scene, Will was like, it was a very small space, and he just said, this is all that matters, right here, what's in this thing, right, matters, everyone else respect this, and it was like, it was so great for the students working on the film and the actors to create that kind of sacred space.
And another thing you do so well is you use non-actors, you know, in the film, and I don't know, you have a way of just like drawing something out of them or making them comfortable enough that they're not self-conscious, and it just adds so much. And you started the film that way with all these great faces, and it just adds this weight to the film. And
I really love working with non-actors. Like that guy who plays the Santa Claus, the alcoholic Santa Claus. We literally found him. I'll just tell you a quick funny story. Will's such a great guy. He's such a great guy. He was sleeping in a shack when we made the film, and I was trying to get like a really authentic, scary guy to play that part, because he has to be a little lecherous with Lana, like, yeah, it's pretty in mine. And the father comes to kind of take him away, you know, like a scary guy, you know. And so I found this guy on the street, and I said, I'll give you $50 if you come do this thing. And then we couldn't find him, and I finally, a couple of BAs got him and brought him and put him in a Santa suit, and he was trying to get out of there the whole time. And I said, I'll give you $50. I just held the $50 near the camera, and he goes, hey, what I got? And he didn't know his lines. So he comes in there, and Phil goes, Will comes up to me and says, so the only thing he's taking, he goes, hey, okay, I'm over the guy. He goes, does he have a knife? That's all I want to know. And then I go, no, I'm not sure he doesn't have a knife. And he goes, no, it's okay, because if he has one, I want one. That's the kind of actor Will is, right? So, like, and you kind of look at Will, and you go, I guess you're serious. No, he won't have a knife. But so Will was great, Steve, because what happened is the guy came in, he was all over the place. He didn't know his lines. And I was mortified as a director because he's not scary. He's so nervous and weird that it's like more like a crazy guy, a cokehead or something coming in the place. And he didn't feel, and Will was like, no, let's go with this. Let's go with this energy. And I was like, okay. And so Will was feeding him the lines, and he kept shouting him, don't look at the fucking camera. He was like, Will was saying that to the guy. He goes, and he was like crazy. And Will goes, look at me, don't look at the camera, look at it. And he gave him his lines. And then he came over to him, and the guy ran away. He was so scared of Will that he ran away. So the second half of that scene where Will's running up to her, and he's talking to his daughter, he's going like this, the guy's 100 miles away. The guy's still running through the woods, you know, with Santa outfit, you know, drunk off his ass. And Will is just like going off, but he's such a good actor that he remembered the crazy energy, and he would just take it to Lana, and he was playing to this guy who wasn't there. And that's a great actor who says, okay, I'm working with non-actors. I'm not going to be disappointed this guy isn't doing what we thought. So I love that. To me, it's kind of exciting, because when you make a movie like that, it's almost like you go to work and it's better than what you wrote, because something happens and it's like...
Well, you've always said you love surprises. That's what you would always say to us as actors, surprise me.
Yeah.
How much more time?
Like 3 minutes.
Okay. Do we want to take any questions?
Right.
Does anybody have a question in the audience? Sorry, I should have done this. I'm a terrible moderator. No questions? You're a terrible audience.
Let's put it on them. Hey, come on, man. Wait, what the fuck?
If you were to run into the kids while they were on the run, if you were to intervene somehow, like you became their social worker, what would be your advice to them?
That's a dumb fucking question. Let's get the fuck out of here, Steve. I'm messing with you, man. I'm just fucking with you. Jesus, why'd you ask these guys for a question? It was so much more fun. What would I do? Actually, I'd probably be like the old people. I would invite them in. And feed them. And I mean, what a great scene. I mean, Steve Randazzo, that woman, I discovered her in New Bedford. I just had an audition with it. It's funny because I had an audition with some people in New Bedford. I'm so weird. I'm out of my mind. Like, I look at myself as something else, and I had them come in for auditions like non-actors. And I said, look at the other guy and just say vagina. And this woman's like a very religious woman. She goes, vagina. And I go, just say vagina. Go back and forth, just say vagina.
How are you not arrested? I don't understand this.
Actually, it's weird. So, but anyway, that was an acting crash course in acting. Next thing you know, she's like, fuck this guy, I'm not fucking around, I'm not being nice anymore. And so she came in and she just feels like home cooking, that woman. There's something about her that grounds the movie. When Randazzo brings the kids in and they're sitting around there, she's just like, wash your hands. I just want to go hang out with her. And we had so much fun shooting that scene.
And so was that a lot of that improvised, you know, at the table
Yeah.
when they're eating? Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but
I mean,
they're
you're probably
beats. They're
throwing-
beats.
yeah,
And
they're
with
beats
Jabari, for instance,
yeah.
Jabari just steals
Yeah.
that scene from me. It's like, he's just great. But I kept going, hey, Jabari, so you gotta get out of here. So you go, oh, God, I'm about to bust a gut. And, you know, and Jabari ate all the food in the first take. And I'm sitting there going, Jabari, slow down. We got a night ahead of us. And he's like, oh. And I said, so I said, so say I'm about to bust a gut. So we go, I'm about to bust a gut. And then, you know, so Jabari was like right in the moment and doing it. But so I like to improvise, but like, you know, like Cassavetes said, it was kind of one of our heroes. Is that like it's kind of a weird thing to say improvising, but it's more like you're dancing to a piece of music and you're free to dance the way you want to dance.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
better way of almost putting it.
Before we go, I just have to stress, Lana, you're like the center of the film, and it's, you know, it's your reactions too, and you know, like your quiet strength it just carries the film, and it's just such a beautiful.
Yeah, you really should really own that, sweetheart.
Yeah, it's really
Stand up for a second again.
Yeah, take another bow.
Come on up just for a second. Come on, Lana, come on. It's Lana's movie. She used to call Steve Stinky Steve when she was this big.
Right, we don't have to, you know, pick up everything.
I've been watching lately.
What was it like? What's it like working with your dad? I know we're gonna be off in 2 minutes.
How much time do you have? Yeah, I mean, it's, I've worked on, we worked on Little Feat, we worked on Sweet Thing, and I worked on like a small student project from one of his students. So I really only had experience with my dad. So I don't know acting outside of working with my dad as a director. And it's nice, I guess, because I don't have to build a relationship with a new person that I have to trust. But, you know, I mean...
You're talented, sweetie. Hey, by the way, I know we're leaving, but please encourage people to come first of all, to the IFC Center. People like John Benko, we got to keep things like this alive. And also, please encourage people to see Sweet Thing, because if you liked it, you don't have to, if you didn't like it, okay, fuck you. But if you liked it, go out there and say, hey, really go see this movie at the IC, because it is weird. Seeing movies in a place like this is so different than watching it on one of these things, that's for sure. And it's so different than, you know, hey, I put the pizza, what happened? You know, that's not the way to watch movies. It's a temple. It saved my life. You were here tonight. You felt that thing, right? It's an energy, and this movie deserves it, and other films do. So please come out, see movies again. This whole nightmare of this thing will be over soon. So come see movies.
Thank you, everybody.